Welcome back to Father and Son Fix. In this episode, we're going to show you how to fix the water inlet valve on your dishwasher. These are the tools that you're going to need: adjustable pliers, a screwdriver, and a flashlight. The wrench and the Teflon tape are optional to make a cleaner and easier repair. The most important thing before you get started is to turn off the water and the electricity. The water cutoff valve for most dishwashers is located underneath the sink. So here we're going to show you where it's located underneath our sink. There you can see that at the bottom there is the water line, and there we've already turned it off. That's the water line that goes to the dishwasher. So make sure that that's turned off. Next, go down to your electrical panel and make sure that you switch off the breaker to your dishwasher. And after you switch it off, be sure that the dishwasher is turned off. You may find that the breakers are mislabeled, and you don't want to make that mistake. To access the valve to replace it, you're going to need to remove the panel on the front of the dishwasher. That's located on the bottom, and there's two screws typically that are holding it in place. We're going to remove the one on the left. Then we're going to remove the screw on the right. Once both screws are out, you can carefully remove that panel. And you might find some cobwebs and some spiders. Sorry, it's not as clean under here. You might find yours is not too clean either. It's just the way life is. Now move the panel out of the way, move the screws out of the way, make sure you have them to put them back later. And here is the water inlet valve, and we've already loosened one of the screws that's holding the water inlet valve to the base of the dishwasher. And we'll just show you where it is that you're going to want to loosen those screws. So here it is up in the top left there. Okay. Now once you've got that screw out, the next screw is going to be at the bottom right, underneath the water line coming in. Now, you may decide to disconnect the water line at this point. We were able to get our screwdriver in there to where we could loosen that screw just enough and then take it the rest of the way out with our hand, as you can see here. That way it just makes it a little bit easier to disconnect the water line away from the dishwasher. Now this rubber line, though, on the back of the water inlet valve is a different story. You may not have enough play to pull that out very far, and you're going to need to get your pliers on that clamp at the end of the valve there, to be able to disconnect that rubber hose. At this point, we recommend getting together some rags to put underneath and around the valve, because there may still be a little bit of water that's left in the valve there. So before you disconnect the rubber hose, disconnect the electrical connection that's going into the valve. Remember, you should have turned off the power at the breaker already. That's just to disconnect the electrical connection. Put a bunch of rags underneath the valve, as we mentioned. That way any residual water that's in the water line there is just going to go to the rags. Now here we've got the adjustable pliers, and we're moving that clamp slowly back down on that rubber line, away from the valve, so that we'll be able to disconnect that rubber line. Now you can see, yeah, some more cobwebs and other stuff hanging there. Sorry about that. Now, once you've got the clamp moved away, you still may need to sort of wedge the line off of the valve, and you're just going to want to be very careful when you do that so that you don't damage that rubber line. And here we're just carefully breaking that seal that has built up there from calcification over time. But again, be very careful. Do not use a sharp tool to do that. Now we've got the valve out, and you can see here we tried to fix our valve with epoxy, and guess what? It didn't work. So it's a good thing we ordered a replacement. And that's what it looks like when the valve is removed, and we've got the rubber hose there just waiting. Make sure you don't lose that rubber hose back in the dishwasher there. Just keep that ready for the replacement valve when you're ready to put it in. Okay? Now, let's get to removing the metal line on the valve so that we can connect the replacement valve. Okay, you can use adjustable pliers to disconnect this water line, but it's going to make a cleaner repair if you have a wrench that fits that fitting. It's not going to scratch the fitting like the adjustable pliers might. So if you can find a wrench that fits it, use that. If not, if you only have the adjustable pliers, that's okay too. So now you can disconnect that water line. There it is with the water line disconnected. And this valve didn't have Teflon tape on it, and we like to put Teflon tape on every water fitting just as a precaution to prevent any leaks. And now we're going to compare the old and the new parts. There they are. Make sure it's a match before you put it in. The electrical connection and the pipe fitting. There you can see we've added the Teflon tape to the end of the fitting there. And now we're going to reconnect the metal line with the wrench, or again, if you have adjustable pliers, you can use that. Here it is. The metal line is reconnected, and we're ready to go back in. Next step is to reconnect that rubber line there, and you're going to need to take your time here and slowly squeeze that rubber line on there. Make sure it gets fully seated on the valve back where it was. Okay? It's going to start to ease on there. And push, and it may be a little tight. Take your time. You'll be able to get it, wiggle it back and forth, twist it side to side a little bit. That'll help it seat all the way down. Now, once that rubber line is seated all the way down, the next step is going to be to use that clamp, and you can use that clamp to pull the hose a little bit for yourself. And once you've got it all the way seated, now it's time to get the pliers out and move that clamp from there back to where it was previously on the valve. And that's going to make sure that that rubber hose doesn't get disconnected. Okay? So here we are. We've got the adjustable pliers again. Take your time. It may slip a little bit. It'll be okay. Make sure you've got a good hold on it. And once you've got a good hold on it, you can rotate it into place. And that's what it looks like when it's fully seated. You see how it's on the valve there? And you can usually see an indentation on the rubber hose that actually matches with that clip. And that'll show you where you need to put it. And make sure it's fully seated back on the valve. Okay? Make sure you put that electrical connection back in where it was. Very carefully. It's going to seat that back in place. Got a little glove rippage there. Okay, electrical connection securely back in place. And now you're going to reseat the valve back in the base of the dishwasher and put those two screws back in. So you're going to slide it into place. And once you slide the valve into place, just like that, you'll be able to line it up, and then you're going to get your screws to screw the valve back in. So there's one at the top, and we'll start with that one up there. Again, if you want to reconnect the water line later to make it easier to get to that one in the bottom right, you could do so. We were able to get our screwdriver in there. Once it's all screwed back in, turn the power back on. Turn the water back on. There it is. There's the water line again. Okay, turn that back on. Yours may be a little bit different valve, but you can want to turn it back on. And check for any leaks before you put that bottom cover plate on. So you just want to make sure after you put the water on, there's no leaks coming out of there. And once you feel confident about that, then it's time to put the cover plate back on. And I got the two screws. One on the left. And don't screw the one on the left in all the way. That way you can get that cover plate lined up just perfect. Screw the one in on the right next. And once those are screwed in and lined up, now it's time to turn the dishwasher on and make your first test run or test wash. We hope this helped. Let us know what model dishwasher you have down in the comments. Thanks for watching. We hope you have a great day.